Hello, everyone. My name is Julia Beyer. I'm an SOC Career Advisor, and I'm very happy to welcome you to the workshop using Career Center resources in your search. We have a workshop series called the Career Center Summer Job Search Series going on this whole summertime, and you can see on our YouTube channel, the American University Career Center YouTube channel, all the reportings on all the topics in case you can't be here live. But I'm very happy to be here with you today to update you what's going on with the Career Center, what resources you should be taking advantage of now, particularly as we transition out of the pandemic. So we're very excited to be talking to you about all the resources that you can take advantage of. I did want to mention that the Career Center will be transitioning to a hybrid schedule on August 16th. We will be open Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can make appointments outside of those hours as well, because we will continue to offer in-person appointments as well as virtual appointments. So you will have the option to take advantage of both with your the advisor for your specific school. So what is our agenda today? Hitting on the 6 main areas: who am I, self-exploration, what you should be doing, virtual tools that you can take advantage of, particularly as we transition out of this virtual world, important upcoming events, a suggested career timeline, and resources for specific populations of students. So that's what we hope to cover today. And we will have a Q&A at the end. So I will hang around at the end to answer any questions. So who am I and how the Career Center can help? I wanted to mention 2 self-assessments that we offer. One called the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. That's a very popular one that a lot of folks have taken advantage of. And it's about your personality, and based on your personality, what types of work settings would be a good fit for you, which is good for any person, any student, freshman through senior. Then we have the Strong Interest Inventory, which we highly recommend, particularly for freshmen and sophomores. We're trying to make decisions about college major, what types of activities they're interested in, or internships. It also gives you a list of your top 10 occupational titles. So both assessments you can actually take at this moment for free, and you would take it online for 25 minutes and then schedule a follow-up appointment with a career advisor to go over the results of the assessment. So self-assessments are one tool in the toolbox, one way in which you can learn a little bit more about yourself and what might be a good fit for you based on your interests and your personality. Another very good resource on our website, american.edu/career center, is a resource called Career Guides by Undergraduate Major. And you can find this on our website under Explore Your Options Career Guides by Major. And it breaks it down by all the schools and the majors within the schools and suggested employers, job titles, skills, professional associations for each major that you're considering. So when you're thinking about what you'd like to do or exploring that, that could be a really good resource, because you can compare and contrast a couple different majors and see what skills are required and see what kind of jumps out at you as most interesting. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that. What I should be doing. So as you evolve through college, freshman through senior year, you're going to be growing and changing, and you might start out with one interest area and end up in a very different kind of interest area. And we are very understanding of that. And we're happy to help you as you evolve and change when you're trying to develop your story, talking with employers. whether in person or virtual. Being able to share an elevator pitch, which is a quick 2-minute introduction about yourself. And so having an idea of, usually people say their name, what their major is, what they're potentially interested in, anything relevant from their past that might be important to share with that employer. So that story, that pitch will be evolving and changing, whether you share it verbally or in written form or through an application material such as a cover letter or resume. And these are all things which you can work with your career advisor on to tweak and target your story to make sure it accurately represents where you are at in the current moment. Also, the story lives on your social media platforms. LinkedIn would be a wonderful platform for you to definitely have a full profile filled out when you're looking for internships and jobs. So, and as well as many of the other social platforms that you potentially can use to share your story. Interviewing is another opportunity to share your story that we help students practice their interviewing skills. So we're happy to help you with the range of these things, whether it's trying to figure out what you want to do, looking at some of those self-assessment areas and some of the resources based on college major, all the way through crafting your materials and shaping your story. What I should be doing continued. So we have a newsletter coming out every Monday, and it will resume the first week of class, called the Career Center Recruiting Newsletter. And here's the header right there that will be at the very top of the newsletter. And it is jam-packed with relevant information of all the newsletters you should read. You should definitely pay attention to this one because we highlight specific employers that are coming to campus. We highlight jobs and internships that could be relevant to you. We highlight events, of course, that would be helpful to you to participate in. And we have many ways in which we can engage with employers, which includes one-on-one or group informational sessions, or at a specific event, a networking event or fair. So it is very important to read this newsletter that comes out every Monday, scan it, see if there are any relevant opportunities that you would like to take advantage of, because we want to create those connections. Make sure you connect with the employers that you're potentially interested in. The second resource here that you should definitely be taking advantage of is Handshake. So Handshake is where all our relevant jobs and internships live for any employer who's interested in recruiting American University students. They post their position on Handshake, and that's what makes Handshake different from other platforms. Other job search platforms, Indeed, Idealist, usajobs.gov for government jobs, those are all advertised opportunities for the general public. But Handshake, you can find opportunities specific for American University students. And right here is just a quick snapshot of doing a keyword search remote so that you can quickly pull up remote opportunities that exist in Handshake. That's how you would go about doing that if you were interested in remote opportunities. If you're not interested in remote opportunities, I would just do a keyword search based on your interest area as a way to narrow it down. You can also search by paid or unpaid, and there are many additional fields to narrow down the search when you're searching Handshake, including some of the ones that you also see here, whether you're looking for a full-time, part-time job, internship, or on campus. So for further tips for utilizing Handshake and how to best search, you can also work with your career advisor to figure that out. Other things that you can take advantage of, AU partnered with an organization called Parker Dewey, which offers micro internships. These are professional, short-term, paid internship experiences. Just one caveat to that, international students are not eligible for those opportunities. But for those of you who are US citizens, you can look at these professional short-term paid internship opportunities. We have another platform called Quad Jobs, which is a great way to earn income quickly if you're looking for a quick job like tutoring or managing a social media platform or babysitting. These jobs may not necessarily be relevant to what you're studying, but could be a way to also continue building your experience as well as giving you income. So Quad Jobs is a good resource for that. LinkedIn Learning, you can connect to LinkedIn Learning through the portal, the AU portal. If you search under technology and LinkedIn Learning, then you can connect your account with that resource. And basically what it is an opportunity to take advantage of webinars or any kind of training, whether you're looking to build your own website, looking to better your brand, looking to learn more about leadership skills. There's all kinds of webinars you can take advantage of 24/7 on this resource. So it's available to you for free. And if you're looking to pick up a quick skill to add to your LinkedIn profile and your resume, that would be a wonderful thing to look at. And a little bit later, I highlight some more specific topics that they cover with that resource. We have multiple ways to connect with alumni. And during the time of the pandemic, these platforms have become even more important. And so the first one is LinkedIn, is the American University page on LinkedIn. And as you can see here, there's 110,000 plus alumni that you can potentially network with. The second platform here is a tool called Alumni Fire, where alumni have deliberately volunteered on this platform to be a resource, such as, for example, as it says here, to offer resume reviews and informational interviews. So during the time of the pandemic, I have strongly encouraged students to reach out more than ever before to folks, the AU community and different organizations. When you're trying to figure out what state an organization is in, whether they're hiring, whether they're on a hiring freeze, whether they're laying off. So it's become even more important to reach out to understand where an organization is, including other factors, whether they're hiring fully remote, hybrid, or full in person. Lots of factors to evaluate now when we're applying for different job opportunities. And especially during these times when organizations are in the process of transitioning and figuring it out for themselves as well. So this is a quick snapshot of the American University tab on the American University LinkedIn page. And so there's this interactive tool where you can have they have these columns where they live, where they work, what they do, what they studied as you scroll over, and you can search for any company name, any interest area, any job title. And I think of this tool as a way to brainstorm what to do if, like, say you have an interest in economics or you have an interest in international affairs, and you can type in those keywords there and just scroll down further and see like the top organizations as it shows here, where people are working. And you can scroll down further and see where those specific people are working and what they're doing. And so I don't know any other tool where you can do a keyword search and where a connection can be made between that keyword and what people are actually doing in that field. So this is an incredibly powerful tool. And if you are more focused, you're not really in the exploratory process of trying to understand what to do based on an interest or keyword, but you really know what you want to do. What you can use this for, again, is like finding specific people who work at such the State Department or Deloitte or any organization you're interested in, and going ahead and getting in touch with those people and getting some advice. I like to think of LinkedIn as a phone book. It's public information. Everything there is potentially useful to you. And if you're not able to directly connect with somebody because there's 3 degrees of separation with LinkedIn and cannot directly message somebody, then you can find them potentially somewhere else. Just do a Google search on their name and just find any way you can get in touch with them if you're not able to connect with them directly. And by the way, you are all welcome to connect with me directly because I have a lot of connections with AU students and alumni in the field. And the more you're connected to people, the easier it is to reach out to folks and to get that advice. Other virtual tools, and some of these are on our website at american.edu/career center, and some of them you access through Handshake. So Going Global is a tool that you access through Handshake under Career Resources, and it's a resource that helps, it's designed to help students seeking employment abroad and to aid international students seeking employment in the US. So there are opportunities also around the country. So students who are looking for opportunities around the country as well as around the world, and also international students, there's lists of employers that have done H-1B sponsorship. So to have that historical information can help inform your search as to what types of employers you might want to target. So that Going Global, you can access under Career Resources on Handshake. Big Interview is another career resource that you can access under Resources on Handshake, which is, as the snapshot shows here, it's a mock interviewing tool. So I think virtual interviewing is here to stay. And it is important to practice that. It's not necessarily something that comes naturally to everyone. And so we have this tool called Big Interview, where, as you can see here, there's a pre-selected set of questions. There's this automated person that asks these questions, and then you can record yourself and then play yourself back and see how you come across. So this can be a really good resource for practicing those mock interviewing skills. Career Center Explorer Options International Student Resources. We have a comprehensive web page for international students. International students, your job search is not going to be dramatically different from other students, but there's some tips about how to make your application stand out and more competitive, and other cultural things to be aware of when you're applying to opportunities in the United States. So that is a wonderful webpage to visit when you go to american.edu/career center under Explore Your Options International Student Resources. So I would strongly recommend that for international students. I also wanted to highlight on our website also the resume examples and templates. So we have sample resumes for underclassmen as well as upperclassmen, graduate students, mid-career folks, and the federal resume as well as the regular resume. So there's actually a template you can download. It's a Google Doc that you can just download our format and just enter in your information. So if any of you are still in the process of building your resume or need to scrap your old resume and start anew, you can go onto our website and find an actual template you can download. So you're not starting from scratch. You already have a template to work with. So that is something that I recommend to folks who don't have a resume yet or just need to start with a fresh resume. It's very important to pay attention to your school newsletters, listservs, and social media. I work with the School of Communication, so this is our weekly newsletter, and then this is the Twitter handle for the SOC Career Advisors. which we post relevant opportunities, jobs, internships. So whether you're SIS, SPA, CAS, SOC, I would strongly recommend that you scan and read your school-specific newsletters and review resources on those listservs you might be a member of, as well as the social media. So I know there's a lot to pay attention to, but the schools offer, school-specific, industry-specific events and opportunities to network with employers and alumni in as well as the Career Center. So we sometimes do events partnering together, but we always support each other and offer you as many opportunities as possible to take advantage of networking opportunities and events. So we have this resource called We Know Success for those of you who might need some hard data to help you understand what you want to major in, or if you would like some data about where your fellow students have done internships for credit. So we in the Career Center track where AU graduates go 6 months after they graduate, and we have a very high knowledge rate. We try very hard to follow up with AU alumni and figure out what they're doing so that they can be in turn helpful to you. So with this tool, and you can go to american.edu/WeKnowSuccess or just Google We Know Success, you can search AU undergraduates with any major in any school. And as you scroll down, it shows you the percentage of people working or in grad school or both. It shows you a list of employers where your fellow students in your major or a major that you're considering have found jobs. It shows salary ranges. It shows where your fellow students might have gone on to graduate school. It also shows where your fellow students have studied abroad, as well as done internships for credit. So there's a lot of information to look at there based on your major or your school. You can also search broadly by school from this drop-down menu if you just wanted to see where all SIS students are or where all SPA students are. So this is a great tool to get data to help you potentially inform your decision about what you could major in, where you'd want to intern, or potentially where you want to work down the road. We also have an Office of Merit Awards that primarily helps with 3 things: opportunities, funding for study abroad, graduate education, or high-level work experiences. And you can see the snapshot here about we've had very good success with Bourne Scholars, Fulbright Scholars, as well as having many finalists for different nationally competitive scholarships. And like the Career Center, where you can set up appointments with the career advisors to talk through what you want to do or have your resume reviewed, you can also set up an appointment with the Office of Merit Awards to sort through your interests and what types of opportunities, study abroad, or what kinds of work experience you'd be interested in doing in the future. And I would encourage you to go to their website and review what they have there already. They have a scholarship directory that you can look through to get a sense ahead of time of some of the scholarships that you'd be interested in. Mark your calendar. Our next virtual fair will be on September 23rd from 1 to 4 p.m. And registration for students opens on September 6th. So great opportunity, whether you're a freshman or senior, to engage with employers. It is never too early, even if you're unsure of what you want to do. Identifying some employers, and these fairs have nonprofit organizations, private companies, as well as government organizations, going ahead and seeing on Handshake which employers are registered, who you'd like to potentially talk to, who you'd be interested in. speaking with, because what's different about virtual fairs, if you haven't already attended one of our virtual fairs this past year, is that you have to be a little bit more intentional. You can't just show up like in an in-person fair and not do any research and not necessarily know who's going to be there, although we always encourage you to do research regardless. A virtual fair, you have to sign up after RSVPing for the event beginning on September 6th. You have to select which employers you want to speak with and whether you would like a one-on-one session or a group session, because both of those are available. And we always have prep events the same week and leading up to the fair to help you learn about, if you haven't attended a virtual fair, how to do so. But those initial steps would be to first RSVP to the fair, then secondly, looking through the list of employers that are there, and then thirdly, signing up with some of those specific employers for either one-on-one sessions, which are about 10 minutes, or group sessions, which are a little bit longer. Another event to get on the calendar is upcoming federal work study fairs. So if you have been awarded a federal work study award, it would be, of course, only those students who have a federal work study award. We have an off-campus federal work study fair on August 18th. And what do I mean by off-campus? Of course, organizations that are off-campus that we partner with that participate in the federal work study program who hire American University students. So that is coming up on August 18th between 2 and 4 p.m. And then we have an on-campus federal work study fair. Of course, employers, departments on campus that would be hiring students, all the different types of offices on campus, including the Career Center, by the way, who hires a lot of federal work study students. And side note, if any of you are School of Communication students, we actually are going to be hiring 2 federal work study, potentially School of Communication students. We also are open to all students, but preferably School of Communication for our team. So good to keep an eye out for those 2 events if you are looking for an on-campus or off-campus job and you have a federal work study award. We have a robust list of COVID resources on our website. So, when you're thinking about transitioning in the fall to some in-person class, some virtual class, whether you should do a virtual internship or an in-person internship, I would review this list of resources to sort of become aware of, all the things that you could potentially, do better with, whether it's a virtual interview or reading up-to-date information or tips about navigating the workplace basically during COVID. So this is something good to check out, particularly for during this time. And hopefully we will be moving out of it, pretty soon. But we will carry forward with us what we've learned and what has worked well and what hasn't worked so well in the workplace during this time. So I developed just a very broad timeline for first year through fourth year students, regardless of where, to basically address whatever point at which you're at. So first year students, it is never too early to set up an appointment with your career advisor. It's so good to develop a rapport with your academic advisors and your career advisors and your professors, for them to get to know you over the course of the 4 years that you're at AU. And so even if you're not sure exactly, what you want to do, it's a perfect opportunity to come into the Career Center, just to talk to us about what you're thinking about doing, what opportunities you might want to consider. If you just want us to do a simple resume review, that is a very common thing that people take advantage of. as well as a cover letter review, or if you would like us to review your handshake or your LinkedIn profile. That is another common thing we do. So you can see all the things that we help with potentially on our website at american.edu/career center. Down the line, things like salary negotiation, how to make a career change. These are all things that we help also graduate students with who are kind of further along and have a little bit more experience. Also, as a first year student, we don't strongly push getting internships. We want you to adjust to campus and explore opportunities through clubs and activities. And even the summer after your freshman year could be a potential great time to do an internship. Occasionally, we have somebody who is interested in doing internship or even earlier than that. And but we encourage the first year to really take the time to adjust to campus and to explore all the resources that are already on campus. And frequently, first year students also get an on-campus job. That can be a good way to make some income while you're adjusting to your academic program. So second year students, of course, we'd encourage you to potentially get even more involved in an on-campus club or activity, as well as seriously looking at applying for internships. Just a note about these two different experiential experiences. Both can be extremely valuable. Some students think, oh, an off-campus internship is probably better than an on-campus activity. Not necessarily. I've seen students have very strong leadership roles in on-campus clubs and activities that can be extremely valuable. And like anything, it's what you make of the experience. So it's really taking advantage of as much as you can in that on-campus club or activity, as well as the internship. And internships can vary as well. Some can be better than others. So it is what you make of it. But I want to emphasize that getting involved on campus is a wonderful way to build your experience, just as much as getting an off-campus internship. Timeline for third year students. So by this point, you could be having, a leadership role in a on-campus club or activity. Also by junior, senior year, you become more competitive for those more competitive internships and jobs at those organizations that students are very interested in, such as the State Department. And so it's good to sort of think strategically your freshman and sophomore year about what skills or activities you're interested in joining and starting to get those experiences, so that by the time you reach your junior year, you can have that on your resume and be more competitive for the more competitive internships. And again, having a leadership role in a club or activity can be just as valuable as having one of those competitive internships by your junior or senior year. And then, of course, your fourth year as a senior, you're thinking about, I think of the senior year as a ramp up to the job search, the entire year, basically. So where you're taking everything that you've done, freshman through junior year, those connections that you made with your advisors, your professors, with alums, with friends, with roommates, with the people that you've met through your clubs and activities. And you want to have like a way to organize that list of contacts, like have a drafted list of contacts. I don't care if you use Word or Excel or another tool, to have just a way of tracking all those contacts that you've made over the years, because those people are going to be the people that are going to be tremendously helpful to you when you're ready to make the transition to after AU post-grad. So in the fall, things that you can be doing as a fourth year student is getting your application materials ready and in good shape. that doesn't only include resume cover letter, that also includes your LinkedIn profile, any social media platforms, making sure that when you Google search your name, you're very happy with what appears there. And you can come in and talk with us if you have questions about that or need tips or strategies. Of course, we can help you with your LinkedIn profile. But it's also continuing all the things that you've been doing freshman through junior year, keeping an eye on those relevant networking events and fairs. You know, which employers that are coming to campus would be good for you to check out. A wonderful way to transition post AU would to be doing an internship, and potentially for that internship to turn into a full-time job after you graduate. Do things always work out that way? No. But when you are looking for internships, it would be a good question to ask in an interview, such as, you know, how many of the interns potentially convert to full-time roles? And even if that organization where you're interning doesn't have a role in that point in time, at that point in time that you are graduating, does not mean that they couldn't potentially have one in the future. So staying in touch with your contacts and all the organizations and or campus clubs and activities that you're involved in, because the people that you've made connections with, they're going to be able to tell you about what's going on. They're going to be right in your same boat about, you know, challenges that they're facing in their search. So it's just good to make sure that you have all that information in an organized way. So late fall, keeping an eye on job postings, maybe not quite time to apply yet. I know some government jobs, of course, you have to apply way early by the fall for the next year. So in that case, you'd be looking a lot earlier for those government opportunities, particularly ones that require security clearances and many more months for it to clear for you to start a job in the government. But I'm talking generally speaking, nonprofits, private companies, you probably would be just starting to keep an eye on what the postings are in the fall. And then by early spring is when you're going to start actually applying to opportunities, and where you're going to be heavily following up with contacts and reaching out to connections and making new connections. And reaching out to folks can also start from the fall and go on forward from there, because Alumni Fire, like I mentioned earlier, and LinkedIn are wonderful ways to be able to identify specific people who you might be interested in talking to, if you're aware of what type of job or organization you're interested in. So, and then in the spring, attending all the relevant networking events that would be of interest to you. So this is just very broad strokes, but you know, I frequently get the question, what, as a fourth year student, a lot of folks ask, when should I start applying? So I think there's a lot that you can, like the roller coaster, start getting ready to ramp up for the spring when you're ready to click apply to organizations. And particularly during the pandemic, I would also make sure your strategy is heavily networking oriented and less about applying to advertise jobs on job boards. Yes, I suggest you continue to apply for advertised jobs on job boards, but I would spend a much larger percentage of your time networking, reaching out to specific people in organizations that you're interested in, because there's something called the hidden job market where 70% of opportunities are unadvertised. How do you learn about those? You got to network. And so being able to, you know, keep an eye on what is advertised, but know that your chances of success are lower applying to an advertised job. And particularly during the pandemic, I've heard some students having to up their quantity of applications when they're applying to advertised jobs. So if you don't want to apply to a high quantity of positions, I would suggest make a larger, more significant portion of your strategy of networking. So maybe even 50% applying to online jobs, 50% networking. And if you can make it 70% and 25, that would even be better. So I wanted to also point out specific resources for different student populations on campus. And CDI, the Center for Diversity and Inclusion, has a lot of information about all these different groups of students, like first generation. They have a Facebook group you can connect with and find out about events and things going on. And they have resources for transfer students, active military and veterans, as well as international students. So I wanted to make you aware of all the different groups, subgroups, and resources that you can take advantage of for specific populations of students. This goes back to the LinkedIn Learning, that tool I said, where you can just take trainings online on a variety of different topics. This is just a sampling of different topics that you could check out. And it's just a wonderful thing to a skill. Maybe it includes hard skills as well as soft skills, such as learning to be more assertive, where you could develop and your knowledge in a specific area that maybe you haven't been able to get to yet, or maybe you haven't taken a class, or maybe you haven't been able to attend a specific event in that subject area. So if anything kind of is of interest to you, I would do a keyword search to find if there's a webinar or training that you can take advantage of through LinkedIn Learning. And then finally, I've included a link to all the upcoming events here that you can see. So we have additional workshops here for building professional relationships in a virtual environment. Important during these times. If you wanted to learn about federal resumes as well as usajobs.gov for applying for government type opportunities, that would be a good session to attend. Preparing for your interview on July 20th, as well as salary negotiation on July 27th. And as I said before, our webinars all exist on the Career Center YouTube channel. And so you can see all the recordings there and get like a graduate degree or a second undergraduate degree in career development. But it's just nice and convenient for you, so you can watch it whenever it works for you. So I'm very happy that you were here today to learn more about how Career Center resources can support you in your search. Again, I encourage you to make an appointment with your career advisor. We offer 30-minute as well as hour-long sessions, which you can schedule through Handshake. You can also send us an email or access any of our virtual tools online 24/7. Here's a snapshot of our team. We're very friendly folks, so we're happy to meet you where you're at, regardless of how clear or not you are about what you'd like to do. And we try to customize our advice to each and every student depending on what their needs are and what their interests are, so we can basically deliver the resources that can be most helpful to you, and to make sure that we highlight and bring attention to the things that we think are most important for you. So very happy to meet you today. Again, you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to field any questions right now. Thank you.